Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. So much devotion. It's so beautiful. Beings like jumping on with each other and looking at chapter 20 together. Like so much devotion to God. And it's really such a reflection of worthiness. The worthiness to go to the one who knows, in the humility. We got a little teeny tiny Christ over there, a symbol of the one mind, a little magnet, the mom magnet. He wants to be part of it too. And why not? Why not? Everything in consciousness is expression of divine love. It's just that interpretive function in the light of divine being and the honesty of God. Does the light, infinite light, have an interpreter in there? So out of the mercy of our benevolent Father, he sends us the reinterpreter called Jesus to de-interpret the idea that we can interpret what's appearing in consciousness. I love that. I don't know if any of you have seen the book of Urantia. And it's if you get through the first couple of chapters, I couldn't. I had to go right. I wanted to read about Jesus. But they use the term indwelling thought adjusters. Isn't that interesting? You will be sent indwelling thought adjusters. That's what Jesus is doing. He's adjusting us. He knows we're addicted to thought. He knows that addiction. Let's ask him, Jesus, am I addicted to thoughts? Do I really want thoughts badly? See, does infinite light know what thought is? Infinite light. Can we find any thoughts in light? So he's weaning us. He's weaning us off of the addiction to thought. Ask him. So while a lot of spiritual traditions, or some try to talk, hey, stop the thoughts or control the thoughts, Jesus is giving us a whole new, the thoughts of God, the higher order thoughts through the Course lessons, until he can totally wean us out of the thought play. You can ask him, Jesus, you're trying to help me wean myself off thought? Taking one thought and comparing it to the next thought and order them. If I put them in a different order, my life will be better. Ask him if that's the play of consciousness. It's like little thought dominoes, and then you try to match them up and see if that, then you know how that the dominoes work, and then you have like a little tree that you don't see how they polymerize. You know what polymerizes? Oh, I don't know if I can tell you, but anyway, they come together and then they stick like dominoes coming together, and all of a sudden you have a whole tree of no to God. Let's ask him if that's what's happening. Like there's Jesus, do I desire an experience of having thoughts take me over? Like I have no control of thoughts. Yeah. So consciousness generates the thoughts. It says, and then it hides. I'm not doing that. we can be clear because we can ask the one who knows. Is that what's happening? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, face of innocence. Yet the Holy Spirit comes in and retranslates the internal thought adjuster and shows us how, by sticking ourselves, our identity into thought, little thought clusters of who we think we are, we're trying to live inside the unreal. We can ask Jesus, do I have a habit of clustering thoughts and trying to live inside there? Inside of stories. And then do we try to convince Jesus that they're true? Ask him how many times we try to convince Jesus our little stories are true. And how it's flipped. How we're trying to, come on, Jesus, you're taking something away from me. How often that play occurs in consciousness. You are taking something, you are going to take something away from me. So let's just follow that. Let's see how that works. Because when you see through that, it goes to the admission that we have taken away heaven from ourselves. So every time we say, Jesus, you're taking that away from me, let's have Jesus retranslate it. See, every time we say, God, you're taking something away. See how it goes out? There's a you in there. See, there's, in the light, is there any more than one? Is there more than light? Infinite? Does a light know what a you or a me is? Infinite light? We can ask. The light doesn't know what that is. Our true nature, we can ask Jesus, am I light? He says, that's all you are. It would be really simple if we just said, you're right. I am light, period. But here's how consciousness plays. I am light, but. But you, God, are trying to take something away from me. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, is the light everything? Is light everything? Infinite, unchanging light, not that can be seen by the eyes. The light that Jesus points to when we go sit lesson 44 and drop everything about the world. I'm checking in to see if he's really said. He says, by dropping everything you think you know about the world, you'll see very quickly you know nothing about the world. That's why he says in these lessons, if you look at them really carefully, he says, drop every idea. It's like Muji. Leave everything outside. Leave your shoes. Leave your ego outside. And let's ask Jesus, Jesus, do I know how to drop the ego right now? Is he telling you you don't know how to drop the ego? He knows not you, consciousness, because he's trying to tell you there's no you. There's just consciousness playing like a person. More than one. 7 billion people. It's like, what do you mean there's no 7 billion people? There's no 7 billion people. Ask the light. Are there 7 billion people in the light? We have a thought addiction. Jesus, still have a thought addiction. Okay, will you help me? He says, see that it's not you. It's a little fabrication. Jesus, do I really, really, really want thoughts badly? How badly? He says, if you're not at peace, you want them more than God. We can ask Jesus, so if I'm not at peace, does that mean I'm valuing thoughts more than God? Valuing thought more than infinite light. Okay. That's why he keeps trying to take us and have us learn that focus on that voice, that one voice, so he can communicate so clearly where to look. How to keep joining together to see how to look and where to look. So jump on the joining. He's saying join, join, join. Light up the board with joining. He says the ego so wants to do it alone. It'll keep you hunting on the beach. That's its purpose. See, its purpose is to divide. The play in consciousness is to stay in the experience of divided. Ask Jesus. So you can meditate, as many teachers have, and be in recognition. So not meditate on an object, but the nature of divinity can rise. It's not that difficult, like my 7-year-old niece, doing the headlessway.org, you can do those experiments. Jesus pointed me to those experiments. You can do them and just go, okay, is this, you're pointing to your foot, is that a color? What colors does it have a shape? You point to your knee, does it have a shape? My niece goes like this and goes, oh, all is forgiven. She saw there's only light. That's just the beginning. All is unified, because you look back and you realize what's looking out is not an object. It's very helpful. And if you contemplate what's looking out not being an object, you'll see there are no objects. And contemplate, it's helpful. You can contemplate light, because we're always contemplate what we see rather than the perspective of who we are. Yet you will see that so, and a lot of beings can talk about their being light. Like I say, a 7-year-old who talked for days about being light. Wrote letters, I'm the light. I see that I'm the light. So the realization is just the beginning. See, and then it's an expression, oh, I'm done. You're just beginning. Well, otherwise, we don't look. So what Jesus offers, okay, see that you're light, as we do in the circles, we're focusing on light, revelatory readiness. He says revelation comes. You marinate, like Muji says, as the light, you start seeing there more and more, wait, there's only light. Then you'll be asking, well, but why am I still in hell? I can still see lights here. Well, if the experience is not consistent, which you'll see, and you can go on all the forums and you can see how beings will be going along and all of a sudden it seems like hell breaks loose. What happened? Where did it go? Where did the light go? Because there's still a desire below the level of awareness not to be it. So that's the helpfulness of what Jesus offered. So we don't have to be surprised when there's these times of peace and just a joy that's like inexpressible. Like I felt so much joy and I'm like so happy and nothing bothered me for weeks and weeks. And you'll see it in satsang, and then. So Jesus is teaching us what the and then is. It's a desire to experience split. Desire to say no to divinity for the play in consciousness. And so he's teaching us by listening to the light, what's infinite, the light will direct us to all the no's. And thus, as the no's, a desire to experience more than one are cleared from the subconscious mind. It's a unification of the consciousness. The subconscious mind hides all the little secrets down there, superconsciousness, the memory of infinite light. See, the light doesn't need to remember a darn thing. See that the light is the light remembering? It's just light. But it's the effort of keeping consciousness stratified rather than unified. All hell breaks loose, we could say. All that effort to not see that consciousness is one. Even consciousness itself is one. Even the play in consciousness, that's the happy dream, is seeing, oh, it's totality. Until it's seen that we're beyond, and admitted we're beyond consciousness, infinite light of being. See that the light is desireless. It has no desire. See, does the light have any desire in it? This makes it so simple because you don't have to play I am presence. You don't have to play anything. That's why Jesus, someone said something about being the observer. This is why Jesus is saying you can drop all of that and just be simple. Light, not light. Desire. See how simple he made it? Desire not to be light. Light, desire not to be light. Forgiveness, light. And by following the light's guidance, we're following our true self all the time, which keeps the misery at bay. We're not investing anymore in the play of consciousness, in the bank of death. Here's where you're investing in the bank of the death, but you follow me and I'll lead you out. So that's the power. He's shown us where every investment is into know, and why for so many beings it's not a sustained experience, because those desires are like creeping along there, you know, and he's taken it all the way to where he was. His expression, that expression within consciousness, hanging on a cross happy, that's pretty and peaceful. As a story, the use of the story to see it ain't true. The play in consciousness is not true and cannot prove that separation is true. Just asked him if he said that. He said yes. He says, if you think I suffered on the cross, you'd be wrong. That's a play in consciousness. Consciousness believes suffering is necessary. He's saying, look, it's completely unnecessary. He said it's actually impossible for you because you're a divine being. See that the light has no suffering in there. So he sets, here's the quote unquote gold standard, infinite light and everything else. and saying to make such a strong statement about illness. Because even spiritual teachers will talk about, well, you know, that's just an appearance, or, you know, be what is, and, you know, if illness appears, ask Jesus. Jesus is not saying that. Look with me at all your desire for every experience. He's saying the body will just fall away. You can ask him, Jesus, if I follow you, will the body just fall away? When it's time, it'll be done. Old coat, drop. Unless, of course, we desire an experience otherwise. The experience for hell, death. See, the rubber meets the road when we're willing to look at every single thing with Jesus. That is if we want to transcend the world. But you can ask him, Jesus, is it possible to transcend the world if I hold on to one single shred of personal identity? You know, the world, the beliefs in the world is that you have to have physical ailments, that you have, you know, these are all a requirement. You can ask Jesus, ask him, are these required of me? He said, you're requiring it of yourself. See that I don't have any requirement. Does the light have a list? Here's the checklist for the light. If you desire the experience, that's what will appear. Yeah. Like, okay, that's direct. As he says, I have come to lead you out. See that we can't take any idea of a personal identity and be out. That's what the ego likes to do. Keep that little toe in the, you know, little toe dip divinity. Ask Jesus, Jesus, can I toe dip divinity? It's either all in or it's all in. Now, and it's full. It's very, see, to toe dip is to compromise. Ask Jesus, if I toe dip this, am I compromising? I'm not really stepping into the joinings and really, despite all my fear and running to run backwards and all that stuff, see how it's feeding the little green monster in the backyard. Mm-hmm. And you can ask him, Jesus, if I'm not following you, am I feeding the rabid dog in my backyard that's biting my hand? Yeah. See, we want to tell God that he sent the rabid dog into our backyard. Ask, God, you're so mean. You gave me that rabid dog. Yeah. And Jesus is just saying, he doesn't make the dog real. See, we made the dream of a rabid dog that can bite us and then go, God, you're so mean. You gave me a rabid dog. Yeah. And see, Jesus is just saying, stop feeding the dog. Like the little bunny that's upside down going, ow, 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 ow. Yeah. Jesus, don't make that dog be in my yard. No, see that Jesus, he's trying to tell us the light doesn't know that a dog exists. You know, I remember just praying, oh my God, I wanted this world to go away. And see that that is the play, because that's pushing away out of awareness where the miscreation is. But that's part of the play. That's the way it played. Yet even like years before the course, it was probably in my 30s, and the thought arose, I think I'm here to hide from God. Where did that come from? It's a little hint. I'm here to hide from God. So let's see how Jesus has to say, chapter 2 of A New Covenant. It's a great title, Infinite Being. Oh. In the light of infinite being, there are no thoughts, no doubts. How is it that infinite being would become so involved with thoughts? Ask Jesus, how is it that I'm infinite and I got involved with thoughts? It cannot be. Does the infinite light of being know anything about thoughts? One thought. Does it have any thoughts in there? So, and really, when you think about it, there's not one of us, maybe there may be some of us, I can't say, but in the play of consciousness, it doesn't seem that when we have a dream at night, for most of us, and we wake up and we don't go around to everyone around us and go, this is true. Or try to convince them, this really happened, this dream that I had while I was sleeping. Now, here's the, so ask Jesus, are the dreams I'm having at night any different from the dream I'm having during the day? And see what Jesus says. Huh? That's a zinger. No, they're not. So the play of consciousness is to make some dreams seem real and some dreams. See that play? You can ask Jesus this one. Here's one. Jesus, when I go asleep at night, am I actually sleeping? Ask him. It's a play. It's consciousness playing these cycles of sleeping at night and then wanting to astral project. Another play in consciousness. Visit another colony. Get on a get in a spaceship and be abducted. Okay, that can be helpful. Let me tell you, spirit can use that. It can use even alien abduction. And if you look in the play of consciousness, chances are you might have been abducted. We don't know. All I knew is this happened to a friend. I'm asking, yes, he said I can talk about it. So it happened to a friend of mine who's ACIM teacher. So she's visited by these things and she wrote a book about it, Cherry Wild. The beauty of the book she wrote is that their message is love. See, the Holy Spirit can actually use being abducted by aliens. And the funny thing, I was meditating on those aliens, and just, I don't know what happened, but I knew those aliens. I don't know how, because they're in consciousness. And I knew that they were love. Now, how do we know that? Because they're expression of love, like everything else arising in consciousness. But the interpretive function in consciousness is that a little green alien is not a good thing. But see that it's the same. It's all arising in the dream. It is a spectacular display within consciousness. But if consciousness plays like it wants to be attacked, it might look like an alien implanting an egg, you know. That's the way conscious plays attack. And then I just asked Jesus, is that a form of specialness? Everything that generates pain in consciousness is a form of specialness. It's not specialness. It's special. It's attack. It's a desire for a dream of attack that might show up like aliens. It's all thought. Ask Jesus, does everything that show up in a consciousness thought? So it's ordering thought. The little green alien is bad compared to the cow in my backyard. It's comparative. It's the same desire. Ask them, is this a desire for helplessness? To be helpless? It's all, ask him, Jesus, is this all a play of thought? Whether it's, you know, but see the level of, when you just hear or think about alien abduction and just feel what that feels like. And then find the desire for that experience. Jesus, do I have a desire below my level of awareness to make a picture of an object like an alien and have a response to it? See? It's still a play in consciousness. It's a desired experience to see an object and be fearful. Ask them, is that a desired experience to have a picture of a little green alien and feel fear? It's the desire for an experience that something outside can control how we feel. To have a nightmare. And we can ask them, Jesus, are the nightmares at night any different from the nightmares during the day? Are they equally untrue? So just notice the play in consciousness, how it's selective about, okay, that's good, that's bad, that's terrible, this is awful what's happening in the world. Look at that group over there, they're doing something wrong, they're certainly not enlightened. It's a desire to experience hell through form. Indifferences. It's involved. Ask Jesus, is this simply involvement in thoughts? You can ask him, Jesus, is the thought of an alien any different than the thought of a cow? And see if he's different or not different. Our only function is to see they're all the same. Cow in the backyard, everything's equally neutral. Is our function to see the sameness of everything? Asked Jesus. He says you can't be at peace until you see everything equally the same. All divine expressions of infinite love. God is in everything I see. How is it that infinite being would become so involved with thoughts? It cannot be. Through the expression of consciousness, the dreamer dreams a world. So ask him, Jesus, am I dreaming this world? So am I dreaming? This is what the ego doesn't want to see, so we'll look anyway. Am I dreaming all those beings that are on the screen? So will you help me interpret everything I see, all those beings on as a divine expression of myself? A holy expression of totality, of innocence? He says you can only be happy with that interpretation. To see everything in wholeness. Because when we divide them out, and that one has this gray hair, and that one's this, and that it's an attack upon ourselves. Because it's an expression of the one totality, the mystery of the expression of one, seemingly to move around like we're all little different whatevers. Even the aliens have to join the happy party. Ask Jesus. Even the little grays have to join the happy party. You can ask them. Now that would be light training. That's when you'll really be talking to Jesus. Spaceship comes. That's probably see how helpful anything can be used in consciousness. We'd be talking to Jesus really fast. That's sometimes what it takes. You wake up really quickly. Oh, it can be helpful. He uses everything, even Roswell. It's just when you get involved in the dream, see, instead of using the space aliens to wake up and see that it's all the same, we're hunting around for pieces of this rocket ship in Roswell to prove aliens exist. Instead of seeing, and I was one of, boy, I love those alien stories. Oh, that was good. I'm going to show that U.S. government is hiding those aliens. That's so funny. That U.S. government, they're hiding those aliens. No, it's hiding from divinities to try to prove whether aliens exist. Jesus is showing us none of it exists. You can ask him, Jesus, is it a helpful thing right now for me to spend time on the aliens in Roswell? No. He's just saying, see that they're the same. Expressions, God is in everything I see, including an alien. See, it's made up. Are aliens made up to have a story of fear? Ask Jesus. I don't know why he's talking about aliens. I'll go. Because he's saying it's all the same. Do you see how the mind's going to, the consciousness is done up. It's going to find something that's terrorizing. And then it's going to play in the terror zone, the twilight zone of terror.
Sweet.
Sweet. We have to start laughing at it all. Okay. That's what these joining sessions are. I'm asking him, yes, he says they're for really, so you can really laugh at not to judge. Like, it's not to go out and tell all the alien people you're wrong. That's because then we're judging ourselves. As soon as we find our brother wrong. We're just looking inward to go, do I have a belief in there that, that's all we're going to see. When I hear or see a little green man, is there one twitch? Then I bought into the dream ticket. I bought into the dream. Through the expression of consciousness, the dreamer dreams a world. So then, how to be free? See that you are already free. That nothing binds the Son of God, the light within. This is why he keeps taking us to light. Do you see in these light circles? See what's free. Can the light of divine being ever be bound by anything? Let's just ask, is the light of the divine being bound by a space alien? We need to look at that carefully, because the next second we walk down the hall and there's a roach or whatever, Look at it. Look at this. Right.
You don't have roaches here.
This is Mexico, La Cucarachas. So, but this is why we really want to start laughing about seeing the play in consciousness, right? Oh, Jesus, see, we're all meditating on the light until a cockroach goes by. Ask Jesus, Jesus, will you condition me on cockroaches? Yes. See that it's conditioning. Let's just ask, because how is it that no one's been inside, quote unquote, seemingly anybody else's head, but everybody cringes with cockroaches? Now, how is that? I don't know. Maybe some beings don't. I don't know. But you notice that there's some things in consciousness, like because there's one mind. Playing as many. But even a cockroach is a twitch. Ask them. Because see, it's...
You ain't getting to heaven
None of it's bad. See, Jesus is just pointing us to go, look how you're just playing with, diddling around with all kinds of things in consciousness. Good, bad, different, cockroach. And he's just pointing to, it's all the same. It's the desire to see an object, a seeming object that's moving, and separate it out from the rest by having a response to it, a perception, a misperception that it's real. And something about mice, rats, and cockroaches is really a trigger in consciousness to play real. I don't know. Or spiders, whatever but see how it selects out the little things to dance with the devil on, and then you'll be meditating. That's that's the play, and until we see what the play is and how involved and how much we really like it. Let's ask them, even cockroaches. Jesus, do I have a desire to have an experience where I'm impacted by a cockroach?
Oh, no.
And when you get the yes.
better get the tape.
When he tells you, he says, but this is what you can laugh about all of it. How much you desire these experiences.
Oh.
He knows exactly. And we really have to ask him for a miracle on a cockroach to have a physiological response when you see a cockroach. But it's a good example. You know, you get that physiological response seemingly in the body. See, that's how it makes the body real. Eye on. He's just trying to say it's all a big cockroach. All the play in consciousness is that. And so don't, I can hear it's like, just don't be so serious about it all. Just look with me. It's not, nothing's any different. Ask him. Whether he, see, he said consciousness just plays to make these things different. What a talk tonight. Okay. See, the light doesn't have a response. See, it doesn't associate with anything in form. A roach, or it doesn't. See that it's unimpacted. That's what he's trying to point to. And how consciousness likes that little play of things being different and in responding as though that cockroach is real, or a rat's real, or alien's real, or you know, it's a constant being repelled and attracted. You're like a ping pong ball going like this: repel, attraction, repel, attraction. Repelled by cockroaches. Oh, I can't wait to go get ice cream. Do you see? And ask them, are those the same? Look at our reads go. I'm telling you, these sessions are going to get funnier and funnier because we see it's true. We see what he's pointing to. Okay. See that you're already free, that nothing binds the Son of God. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, does anything bind the light? Nothing binds the light. Nothing binds the light. That is why all thoughts, feelings, and emotions must be left aside, if only for a moment. And in this, the holy instant shines. Infinite shines. Notice the peace and the sense of relaxation in this gentle laying aside all thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You're that. Jesus, am I that? This is your natural state, and because you can drop thoughts, even for a moment, this shows that they are not necessary. and that you have the power to drop them at any time effortlessly. That's our only function, to see that the light is all there is. Infinite, unchanging light. And we can let our hearts be light and be in the play and the laugh and the joy that comes from infinite. The Son of God remembered not to laugh. The Son of God made a decision to have idle thoughts, to pretend he could forget he was light. See, he remembered not to, took memory. Jesus, you can ask him, Jesus, does it take memory to remember, see, not to laugh? So he's actually saying, without, is laughter natural? It's natural when it comes from that deep place, out of the infinite. I'm asking if that's an expression of joy. Free laughter. Laughter, the expression of light. Expression of all the love there is. That's what he's offering, for us to see that we're light, and the joy and the lightness that comes in seeing no differences in objects and not gluing ourselves to objects, the light to object experience, some object out there that controls the way we feel. And just feel the lightness of light. And as we value the lightness of light that we are, more and more of we're not investing in that bank of other. And then he's helping us to go, okay, here's light, and then here's where you don't want to be light. And we can ask for a miracle. And amen. Mm-hmm. Jesus, we invite as many miracles as you can show us. He said that's supreme happiness. Amen.
Oh.